Hello, and permit me to say that this is a desperate appeal to all Nigerians at home and abroad, and to all those who love Nigeria. Let me start by saying this again, that you can use a thermometer or temperature rise to detect Ebola in a patient. You, however, cannot prescribe Panadol to cure Ebola, which exactly is what is going on in Nigeria. To prevent death by a wrong diagnosis, I would want our people to pay attention to the following. A wise man once said that those who understand that others don't understand all that they understand have to be very patient. However, when it comes to a matter of life and death, and time is a luxury, we must remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jnr., who said, and I quote, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." I want you to look at some of the pictures on the screen for you to realize the kind of pain, destruction, bloodshed that we are dealing with, in the hope that these pictures will make all of us to humble ourselves before God so that we can address this issue the way it ought to be. I say to you that the semi-illiterate is the most dangerous kind of suicide bomber that is on this earth. He looks down on the illiterate, he believes he's the equal of the literate, and will never learn anything. I want to start by asking us to look at the 9/11 official report, the 9/11 Commission report. Now, we claim that Nigeria is an American-styled democracy. So we would expect at least that the American response to the global war against terror would at least teach us one or two things that we can apply in Nigeria. Now, the 9/11 Official Commission report was chaired by Thomas Keane, and I want to quote a few things. He said, "Our mandate," and I quote, "our mandate was sweeping. The Lord directed us to investigate facts and circumstances relating to the terror attacks of September 11, 2001, including those related to intelligence agencies, law enforcement agencies, diplomacy, immigration issues, and border control, the flow of assets to terrorist organizations, commercial aviation, the role of congressional oversight, and resource allocation, then other areas determined relevant by the Commission. In pursuing our mandate, we have reviewed more than 2.5 million pages of documents and interviewed more than 1,200 individuals in 10 countries. This included nearly every senior official from the current and previous administrations who had responsibility for topics covered in our mandate. We have sought to be independent, impartial, thorough, and non-partisan. From the onset, we have been committed to share as much of our investigation as we can with the American people. To that end, we held 19 days of hearings and took public testimonies from 160 witnesses. Our aim has not been to assign individual blame. Our aim has been to provide the fullest possible account of the events surrounding 9/11 and to identify lessons learned. Among the lessons learned, I want us to look at a few. One, the report says, we learned about an enemy that is sophisticated, patient, disciplined, and lethal. The enemy rallies broad support in the Middle East and the Muslim world by demanding redress of political grievances. But its hostility towards America and its values goes way beyond that. Its purpose is to rid the world. It's global. Its purpose is to rid the world of religious and political pluralism. the plebiscite and equal rights for women. It makes no distinction between military and civilian targets. Collateral damage is not in its lexicon. They also said, we'll learn that the institutions charged with protecting our borders, civil aviation and national security, did not understand how grave this threat could be and did not adjust their policies, their plans, and practices to deter or defeat it. We learned of fault lines within our own government, between foreign and domestic intelligence, and between and within agencies. We learned of the pervasive problems of managing and sharing information across a large and unwieldy government that had been built in a different era to confront different dangers. At the outset of our work, we said we were looking backward in order to look forward. We hope that the terrible losses chronicled in this report can create something positive, an America that is safer, stronger, and wiser. Let me conclude for you. Nigeria has never learned any lessons whatsoever from the approach, the bipartisan approach, the clinical approach that the United States government employed. Now, this is a new type of war. Every nation of the world knows that it's a new type of war, even though the definition of terrorism varies from nation to nation because one man's meat is another man's poison. However, every nation of the world agrees that this is a new war form, and guess what? This new war form was designed specifically to confuse nations. War may have started for decades before the violence erupts. It's a totally brand new type of war. The textbooks for this war form are just being written by military experts all over the world, and they're being revised daily even as we speak. In fact, no matter how different the definitions of terrorism is in the nations of the world, there are 4 things that everybody agrees will be needed to defeat terrorism. Please, can anybody explain why out of those 4 things, Nigeria has only 1 in place? Even the military response, it has been established that this asymmetrical warfare with its hybrid threats cannot be met with a traditional chain of command, and every military in the world is introducing innovations, including the adaptive command structure, to battle it. Nigeria has responded out of all the 4 things with only 1. It has militarized this war. Yet, experts will tell you that the military response, out of those 4, that one, the military response, provides only 17% of the cure. Which means that while we're getting very busy in Nigeria right now with a whole lot of things, at least 83% of the cure is yet to be mentioned once in all that we are doing. So what am I saying in conclusion? 80-something plus percent of the so-called experts in Nigeria are not experts on this new type of war. The policing methods, the militarized methods, the kind of things that I keep hearing on TV by experts on programs, position papers, state clearly that Nigeria is yet to capture a proper definition. The doctor is yet to diagnose accurately what has assailed its patients. Now, let me say this. You can use a thermometer and an increase in temperature to detect an Ebola patient. But if you think that prescribing Panadol will cure Ebola, we need to let us know that it will only kill the patient. All the things that we need to defeat this new war form are available in Nigeria. We can overcome, we can be a blessing to Africa, we can put this new global war form to shame, but we must not allow this wrong diagnosis to continue, or else death would be inevitable. In part 2 of this address, I'm going to be talking about Obasanjo's pen and Buhari's reign and how to demilitarize the future of Nigeria. And in the third part, when we come back to you, we are going to be talking finally about the topic prisoners of the past and how we're going to be able to rewrite the future of Nigeria by visiting the past, not to be limited by the past, but to use innovation to rewrite the program that will determine the future of Nigeria. Thank you.